10 ways to increase profit margins fast. Now, we get anywhere from like 40 to 50 applications for well-oiled operations every single week. And most of the applications are from small business owners who are, get this, one, breaking even, or two, negatively profiting. Okay. And sadly, it is the norm. And I went on to Chat GPT and I asked, what is a good profit margin for small businesses? And it said, of course, it ranges, with industry and location and business model and all those other factors, which yes, I'm so glad it said that. But a good profit margin said was usually 10 to 20% or higher. Now, I actually bet if we went really deep into statistics, we would find that to be actually even higher than what is pretty normal. So here's the deal. Let's just go with these numbers. Let's say it's right. So if you had a $500,000 business, if you're doing well, you might have $50,000 left over at the end of the year, which 50,000 might actually sound like, okay, I'll take 50,000. However, at a $500,000 business, your expenses per month are almost 40,000. So you've got like a 1 month savings account, which you would never take that out of the bank, most likely, because the business is going to need it. So you're still living paycheck to paycheck. And this is a big problem. So today I'm going to be getting into 10 different things you can do now to increase your profit margin. Now, what you need to know is it's not getting better. We get multiple applications every week of business owners at 500K, a million, 3 million every week that say 3 million barely breaking even, 3 million negative, 1 million. Like, it's unbelievable, right? Now, here's the thing. Don't think it's going to get better with bigger numbers. You have to fix the problem now. All right. So this training today is all about what I think you should do if your profit margins aren't great. And let me tell you, it's what I have done many times over the last 21 years when I've gotten into bad habits. Okay. Now, a negative or break-even profit margin is a massive problem and one you need to take seriously. Low profit margins should be this massive, like, red flag grabbing your attention. The problem is you might know it's low, but you aren't actually taking steps to fix it, or you feel hopeless, like you've done everything, you've tried everything. You've been in business for how long? How is this not getting easier? Okay. So one disclaimer before I get into my 10 rapid fire things. Please note, I am not judging, shaming, or blaming you. I am simply coaching on what I've seen with my clients and potential clients coming in. And I'm talking to the very young, naive Stacy who didn't know any better because I was just never taught that, right? So please know I'm going to say things and I'm going to give a little tough love, but it is out of love because I know if you know these things, you can fix it. All right. Number one, know your numbers. How many times am I going to say this, right? It is shocking how many business owners say, oh, I'm going to have to ask my bookkeeper. Like, wait, you don't know if you have $2,000 you can spend today? Like, what do you mean you have to ask your bookkeeper? Like, you know what? I'm going to have to ask my bookkeeper which credit card would have money left. Like, you can't log into your bank account and see your credit card, right? Or, you know what? I'm going to have to check with my CPA if I really am going to be able to bring this person on. Or like, I'm not sure what I brought in last month, so I'm going to have to talk to them. They haven't done my taxes yet, right? These are things we hear. One of the first things we teach our clients is what numbers to track and how to track them. Stop giving all your power to your CPA or your bookkeeper, or maybe a spouse that isn't even in the business. You do not have the privilege of saying, oh, but Stacy, I'm not good at math. I'm not really a numbers person. Like, guess what? You own a business. You signed up to get good at math. You signed up to become a numbers person, right? So this is tough love, guys. You have to hear it. I am telling you, most people don't even know their numbers when we ask them questions before we can bring them into our program. Because if you don't know where you're going, if you don't know where you are, how in the world can we tell you where to go, right? Like if you said, where are directions to X? We have to know from where, right? So that is number one. Number two, immediately reduce costs. One of our leads this week said, I'm living like a rich person and I'm not. And she knew it, right? She knew it, but she was still doing it. First of all, she was amazing. And just knowing it is going to help her like get going, right? But this has to stop. Okay. It's almost like these business owners think they have no choice, right? Like, well, it costs about $20,000 a month to run it, but we're only bringing in 15,000. But we're doing everything we can. And it's like, this isn't out of your hands. You have to cut costs. I have seen $1 million businesses because of COVID become a $500,000 business, but they're still living and acting like they're a 7-figure business. You have to get back to break even. That means laying off people. That means get rid of things, right? You don't have the luxury of keeping expenses high. So when the pandemic hit, we were still like financially bringing in money, but I was very nervous and I was just cutting everything I could. And like, I even cut out my dumpster service, right? So I have brick and mortar locations. We obviously have garbage with people coming in the building. We stopped paying for our dumpster for a few months. Okay. Even when the doors were back open. And I was like, we will just load up Ken's truck and we will bring it to the dump for free. We didn't have the luxury of spending money we didn't know was coming in or not. But here's the thing. People will say like, well, of course I need the dumpster. Of course I need the employee. Of course I need the, stop saying the of course and start living within your means. Okay. Your business doesn't have the luxury of overspending. You have to get to break even as fast as possible. If there's ever a moment we've overspent, I'm like, get back to break even. Just go to break even. Break even, we can sustain, right? Once we get to break even, now we're going to go shooting for profit margin. Now, again, some people will say things like, well, I am overpaying on this person. She asked for $50 an hour. We were hoping for somebody around 30, but like this was by far the best girl. So we're paying way more. Okay. Sometimes you can't afford the person you want yet. I just had the most amazing marketing director apply. She was brilliant. Okay. She was very, very, like the number was up there. Okay. And yes, I could have gambled and said, let's see if she can produce this in whatever. The number was so high though. I was like, I don't even know if we're there yet. Like to really be able to like afford somebody at that level. It was pretty extreme. I had a pretty high budget and she came in way higher than that. Okay. And I just had to say, I'm so sorry, but we're not a good fit right now. Some of you are going, I can't afford her, but I'm going to do it anyway. And then the worst part is you don't know how to get them to become a revenue generator. So you've got this $110,000 person, and my girl was way more than that. But let's say you bring on the $110,000 person that swears they're going to change your operations, and they just keep digging and digging and digging. I remember one time we had one of our clients brought in a 6-figure employee and was like, this is going to be amazing. And she was awful. And then she just didn't want to fire her because she felt like, well, then that money would have been a waste. So she kept wasting more, right? And then finally, it just got so bad. She fired her. And then the mistakes, she said the new girl that replaced her, she's like, she spent 90 days just fixing all the mistakes from the first girl, right? So many times we find out that people are overspending, right? Now, really quick side note, don't be cheap. There's a total difference in this. There are certain people that I'm talking to when I say cut your expenses, and you know who you are. And then there's somebody who's like, I can't cut anything. I'm as lean can be. Now, if you thought that, I want to talk to you for just a second. What I found when we have people that say, I cannot cut out anything, we are as lean as possible. Those are usually, and they're not with profit margins they want. Okay. So they're lean and they do not have the profit margin. Sometimes they are so lean and they are so cheap. It's like they're starving the business. The reason the business isn't doing well is because it's still like an infant. It's a baby and you aren't feeding it. Some things that cost money will make you money, right? Don't cut out things that could be helping you. Some of you actually need to spend a little bit more to make a little bit more. Now, again, you know who you are, right? Number 3, check out your pricing. You might want to consider raising your prices. If you are running pretty lean and there's just no margin left over, you're just not priced correctly, right? So you might think no one would pay if that went up, right? I would never be able to charge this or get this or whatever, right? Well, here's the deal. We don't want to pay people less if it costs you more than doing it, or you don't want to charge people less if it's costing you more, right? So I had a client who said to me, okay, I charge $17 a week for this service. And then I pay the employee $18 to do it. And I like was taking notes and I was looking down and I looked up and I was like, you mean you pay you mean you charge 18 and you pay them 17? Even though it was like $1, and I was thinking, wow, that's horrible profit margins, but okay, we'll get there in a minute. She was like, no. They will not pay the 18. I only can charge the 17. And I had never heard somebody knowingly sell something that was losing money. Like you can sell something and then all the other expenses make you lose money. This was like, I buy these things for $5 and I sell them for $3. And I was like, wait a minute, why are you at least not charging 18 or 19 or, all this other? And she's like, people just won't pay that. I said, then let's just stop selling that service because you'll make more money selling it, right? Or stopping it. And what's crazy is I said, you got two options. If you want to work with me, we got two options right now. I'm like, number one, you're going to stop selling this thing immediately. And I've just made you more money every week. Okay. Or number two, you're going to raise your price. And if people won't pay, well, first of all, let's find out. But here's the deal. Let's say they don't pay. Well, then that means they've stopped paying, which means you're making more money. Either way, it's a win. And here's what I'll tell you. Somebody will pay. If you are as valuable as you think, somebody will pay. So please make sure you're not doing this. Okay, number 4, if you've got a bloated team. I see this a lot, a big team, and it's sucking the company dry. You might have too many people working for you, right? Maybe you had a growth spurt and then you overhired and then the growth slowed down and now you have excess, right? But you don't want to let people go because in your mind, you're desperately hoping that the business will grow again very soon, right? Here's what I'll ask you. How long are you going to give it before you let the numbers show you what's actually happening? Give yourself a timeline. Say, okay, I know we're down. We've got 30 days or we've got 60 days or we've got 90 days. And then here's what I want you to do. I want you to tell your team, here's what's happening. We had a growth spurt. We hired. Numbers are down. We have to get to here, X, whatever number that is, for us to not lay anybody off. Now, some of you are going to be really afraid to say that. And you're going to think, but then they're going to quit. Okay, great. You have a bloated team and you can't afford them. Let people quit. I'm okay with that. Okay. You can't afford them. Second of all, you're going to let the A players step up, help you take this weight off your shoulders, and they're going to shine. Be honest. It is a win-win. Okay. Number 5, evaluate like the CEO, like I'm talking to you, evaluate your personal sales and marketing efforts. Okay. So let me just back up. If you have a sales team, if you have a marketing team, like somebody who actually leads it, and you're like, I'm not in sales or marketing. I am specifically asking you, if you have low profit margins, and just stop there. If you have low profit margins, I want to know how much are you spending personally as a CEO on sales and marketing efforts? What percentage of time per day are you spending on making the business money? If you are negative or break even, it should be pretty much all of your day. Like I'll say 95% of your day. There is nothing more important than making money at this moment in your business when you're negatively profiting, right? So I think sometimes we're like, but somebody else is doing that. Okay, obviously not well. If somebody else is in charge of sales and marketing and you are negative profiting or breaking even, I'm really wondering if you have the right person in there, or I'm really wondering how well you're auditing that person to help them, support them, get those numbers up. See what I'm saying, guys? Now, before I go into number 6, I've actually got 5 more I'm going to give you. If you are loving this and you want to go even deeper, I have a masterclass completely free called Protect Your Profit. If you've watched it before, I've actually recently updated it. Okay. It's free and I'm teaching it live very soon. You can go to welloiledoperations.com/class and you can get registered for our next event. You can also go to Instagram and DM me the word profit and it'll send you automatically the information to get you signed up. Okay. welloiledoperations.com/class or DM me the word profit on Instagram. All right. I've got 5 more coming your way. Number 6, this is a big one. Focus on customer retention and upsells. Get more out of the people that already love working with you. What else can you be selling them? What else do you already have that they maybe don't know about or they're not taking you up on it? Focus on where you are. It's the easiest place to make money. Number 7, renegotiate contracts, vendors, partnerships, suppliers, whatever. Okay. Sometimes you can negotiate leases, like who knows, right? you will be shocked how many opportunities there are and how many people are negotiable. Now, you might have been paying your insurance every year for a while, and they just kept upping the price, and you just didn't notice, and they just kept doing it. And then one year, what happened with me is I got another quote because I was like, this is crazy. So I got a different quote, and the the difference in price was insane, like thousands of dollars different. So I actually messaged my current insurance agent, and I didn't think they were negotiable. So I just said, hey, I'm so sorry, but I'm going to be leaving. There's this other company, and they like gave me an offer I can't say no to. And she was like, send me the offer. I'll match it. Okay. And then I just stayed with the lady, same person, and got a lot of money off. If you aren't looking at your bigger expenses and figuring out where you can save some money, I highly, highly recommend it. Now, I will tell you this, because after I say negotiate with people, don't negotiate with us. Oh my goodness. I thought this was hilarious. So I audit sales calls, and I was watching one of the calls, and this person on there was like negotiating well-oiled operations price with the enrollment specialist. And it was funny because he was like, oh, I'm so sorry. We don't discount, like, out of respect for our current clients, like this is the price, right? If anything, the price is probably going to get higher as the years go on, doesn't get cheaper. And she was like, well, take it to Stacy and see what she says. And he was like, no, I'm telling you, like she is never going to negotiate. Like it would not help you for you to think like I'm going to do that. She was livid. She was like, I need to speak to somebody in customer service. Like, this is crazy that you are not taking this seriously. And I'm like, listen, I totally get, like, when I'm saying go negotiate, somebody might say to you, this is the best we can do. And you have to be okay with that, right? There are some places that do not negotiate, right? However, there are some that will, that have systems for it, that are literally like, they're not even, when you say, hey, what about this? They already have a system of here's what we offer next. Okay. So we are unfortunately not one of those companies, but there are many, many vendors out there that this is part of their business model. Okay. So anyway, it was a hilarious call where I was watching, like, oh my goodness, I felt so bad for my team because he knew I was never going to say yes, but then she was getting so mad at him. And yeah, anyway, it was so funny. Okay. Number 8, if you're in this place, I want you to track cash flow daily. Now, I do this, and I am a very healthy profit margin. I want to know what's happening. So know your numbers in real time. Get a daily report of what have we brought in so far. Keep an eye on your bank account. If money is tight, I see this a lot. People are overdrawing. They're paying fees that are just digging into even more of your profit. So keep an eye on bank accounts and like maybe your Stripe reports or whatever you have to see to know your numbers in real time. This is not like when I said know your numbers and I'm talking about like your monthly statements and all of that. I'm talking about what happened today. Number 9, get help. 2 people that should know about this situation. Number 1 is your CPA. Number 2 is your coach. So your CPA obviously sees the numbers, right? They're calculating it, maybe your bookkeeper or whatever, and they're giving it to you. If they aren't giving you advice, you have the wrong CPA. Now, if you don't have a CPA, you just have a bookkeeper, they're not here for advice. A bookkeeper is not a strategist, okay? I am shocked how many people believe a bookkeeper is like what they need, right? A CPA is the person that's actually going to help you strategize. If you're not getting strategy from your CPA, you have the wrong CPA, okay? If you are in Well-Oiled, we have inside of the program questions to interview and ask a CPA to make sure they're qualified to help you, okay? Now, person number 2, tell your coach. And I see this in the masterminds that I personally participate in and the ones that I host. I can't tell you how many people, when the numbers go bad, they go silent. They just stop showing up. When you need friends and a coach the most, you don't tell them and they can't help you and you're feeling really alone. Okay. If one of my clients came to me today and said, we're spending $30,000 a month and we're only bringing in $25,000, I would immediately come up with an action plan of how we're going to get this back to break even. And then I would say, come back to me when you're at break even and then let's get you profitable immediately. And I don't judge people. I don't shame them for being negative, but I see it all the time. It's like somebody went silent. They're not busy working. Something's going on and they don't want to tell the group. Tell the group. That's why you're paying to be in this room, right? Tell them, use them, utilize this resource that you have paid for. Okay. All right. Number 10. I wasn't sure about this one, but I'm going to put it out there. Number 10, consider a temporary line of credit. Okay. I wasn't sure if I wanted to share it because this could actually hurt the problem more than helping it. Okay. If you don't fix the core situation that you've got going on, all a line of credit is going to do, or like another credit card that you put stuff on, it's just going to give you a little relief, but you're going to now have a bigger opportunity. I'm like trying to think of an analogy here. It's kind of like, okay, let's say this. Let's say you're a very messy person. Your house is just messy. And instead of you learning strategies to keep it organized, I just pay for somebody to come in and clean it up for you. Like the pain is gone temporarily, but very quickly, I'm going to come back in a week or two and it's going to be a disaster. And we both know it. A line of credit gives you relief, but it doesn't fix the problem. You have to understand how to spend money, how to save money, right? How to invest money before you want to bring on more money. More money can truly become more problems if you don't understand it. Now, some of you are taking drastic measures to make changes, and a temporary line of credit could really help you if you have the discipline to stop spending money on just plain expenses that are not actually generating you revenue. Okay. So I hope that helps. Now, remember that improving your profit margin takes time. My goals are get to break even, get to 1%, get to 2%, right? Or if you hit like, all of a sudden you hit like 7, go to 8. Don't beat yourself up. Don't be Googling, what's this industry's profit margin? I was researching for this episode and I'm like, half of these numbers I swear are lies. And the reason I think they're lies is because the amount of people we bring in every week that we can see their profit margins, and we are not seeing what some of these websites are stating. Okay. So get really clear on what is it going to take. I always say, like, what does it take to keep the lights on? And I don't mean like, what's your utility bill? I mean, when I say lights on, I mean, how much are we spending every month in this business? And if you don't know that number, that's problem number one. Okay. Know that number and get to break even as fast as possible. Then from there, we go 1% at a time. Now, if you're serious about getting your business to 7 figures and beyond with healthy profit margins, check out my free training, Protect Your Profit, coming up on Monday. welloiledoperations.com/class, or DM me the word profit on Instagram at Stacy Tuschl. All right. I hope to see you there. Thanks, everyone. Have a great week.